another edition of Vidane TV. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wes Rowdy Hogue, and we are here again with Tim's Corner Motorsports here in the beautiful, and I mean beautiful, ARCA cars at Langley Speedway. Another special event put on by Tim Terry. He's got some star-studded drivers out here, and I got a star-studded crew member next to me, the one and only Dylan Langille. Mr. Langille, how is everything going tonight for you?
Oh, you're so kind with your words. I'm fantastic. I just got off work. Our province is letting people go fishing now, and we can go to the park. Everyone's just happy. And we've got some racing on tonight. I mean, it's Friday night. You got to spend it at a racetrack or the virtual racetrack here in Hampton, Virginia at Langley Speedway for the Speedway 660 National 125. It's going to be exciting, Wes. A little different than what we've been running. We've been usually doing the super late model racing. Tonight, we are using the ARCA style Gen 4 cars, and we are running open setups here at Langley.
Not used to seeing open setups here, and we are glad to see that. And for those that aren't familiar with open setups, that means these drivers are making their own setups. They're not running the in-game setup that all of them have to run. So it's not going to be as even. These guys are going to have the opportunity to showcase their setup building abilities, showcase how well they're able to set up their cars to pull away from the rest of the field. Mm-hmm. And really, at this point, Dylan, it's no longer just about the driver, which we've seen time and time again. Now it's about how well can you set up your car.
Absolutely, and for those unfamiliar with Langley Speedway, this was one of the original NASCAR tracks back in the day. A very, very flat track. 6-degree bankings in the turns, 4-degree banking on the straightaways and backstretch. So that's about as flat as you can get on a racetrack, besides being near zero. So tires are going to be getting a little worn on the right side for sure. I don't know about fuel since it's only really a third of a mile track anyways, but the cars will certainly be tested tonight because an ARCA car is a little heavier than a super late model. That's going to be one thing too. If these drivers aren't super used to driving an ARCA car, it's going to be a game changer later on.
These ARCA cars, and especially the way this ARCA car is right now, it's definitely different. Some that are veterans tire racing, we might call it broken because they actually updated the damage mod on this, which means these cars will show a little bit more realistic damage, but it's still kind of a little glitchy. As we saw last night, we called the NEP series that ran these cars. A little bit of server issues because of it, but it ran flawlessly other than that. So might see a couple little glitches here and there. If so, please bear with us. But nonetheless, these cars are a lot of fun. They're a loose race car, especially on the exit of the corners, and it's really going to have to show off. The driver's going to show off their driving ability, being able to control these machines. So if you're watching on Facebook, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Also, please talk to us. We want to hear from you. Talk to us on the Facebook. Talk to us on YouTube. Dylan, are you able to pull up the Facebook page on your cellular device?
I am. We're going to bring up the Tim's Corner Motorsports Facebook on my end. Maritimer here, and we got a lot of Maritimers and Atlantic Canadians watching tonight. And if you were just joining us and you noticed the ticker on the top there, that was setting up the qualifying. So we have 41 cars all signed up for this evening. 28 will race in the 125-lapper. Top 2 automatically go to the big show. On the pole tonight, Danny Chisholm and Craig McDonald landing second. So they don't have to do any heat racing tonight. They're already moving on to the big show. They get to sit back and watch a few heat races here. And we're going to dive in heat race number 1 here, Wes.
Yep, at starting pole, we have Corey Hall in the 08. Going to be interesting to see what he can do from there. Stephen Matthews is scheduled to start second in the 56. Third, Jake Goodwin in the 24 machine. Starting fourth will be Travis Rona in the 38. Fifth, Brad Eddy in the 6. Always cool to see Brad race. He's a pretty fast driver most of the time. Mm-hmm. Jason Halverson in the 91. We start in 6th. Starting 7th with Dawson McKinty in the 19. Starting 8th, Jason Gallant in the 06. Starting 9th, Chris Ewing in the 044. And then rounding out your field is supposed to be Mike Alexander, but I don't believe Mike has gridded, or he may not be in the server right now. So it looks like Mike's going to miss this heat.
That's not good because Mike showed on Sunday that you don't need tires and you don't need fuel to win a race. If you remember, he stretched everything at Myrtle Beach: the tires, the fuel, went the entire way and ended up winning here as we're pacing around. So we'll see if Big Mike's going to step up here. And yes, if you are watching on Vidane TV or Tim's Corner Motorsports on Facebook, let us know where you're watching from tonight and who you're rooting on. I know we got a lot of Corey Hall fans, some Stephen Matthew fans watching this evening. There are different drivers from 4 different provinces here, and even a few Americans sprinkled in. And Wes, we're getting underway here. Corey Hall jumps the gun there, gets in front of Stephen Matthews on this very small track for Green Flag Racing.
We are. You may be a little bit behind, but I'm already coming to lap 3 here. Is Corey Hall. He's about to take the line for lap 3. Corey Hall with a big lead on Stephen Matthews in the 56, but that is your top 2. Followed up by Jake Goodwin in that 24. Beautiful number 24. And the 6 of Brad Eddy all over his bumper. So some great racing so far that we're seeing here at Langley. Langley's one of those tracks, and we got one spin, and we got the 19 is around. The 19 just got spun out, and that's Dawson McKinty. He gets it back up going. And again, these cautions are admin controlled cautions. Just because the car spins does not mean the caution is going to fly.
Yeah, I might be a little behind you here. Are you on lap number 4 now?
I am on lap number 5 right now, sir. We're about to be taking lap number 6 this time around. You may want to watch from inside the server. If you are not inside the server, I will have you completely covered because I will share my screen with you as I just did here in Discord, just in case you need it. So we are back here as Corey Hall still dominating so far here at Langley Speedway. We do have one off pace, Chris Ewing up against the wall in the 044. Not exactly sure what's going on with the Ewing ride, but these are pretty quick and heavy hitters here. You only got 12 laps to get it done in these heat. You don't really have time to fall back and gather your wits. So, the 19 and the 044 getting side by side again, but your battle up front is still the same. Closest battle on the track, though, will be the 24 of Jake Goodwin. He's under fire. He's in that 4th position. The 38 of Travis Roma is all over his back bumper.
Yeah, and top 5 are going to be moving on to the big show tonight. So Travis Roma throwing a lot of pressure. As you can notice, the straightaways are hardly a straightaway here at Langley. You're basically turning left the entire time, which is going to be a challenge to a few drivers. I'm guessing some are going to be pretty sore by the end of this evening.
Great racing here so far. Again, you got a short time to go and a short time to get there here for Corey Hall. These top 5, though, looking fairly clean. Corey Hall is still with no pressure behind him, still pulling away from the 56 of Stephen Matthews. Some really nice rides out here. This is one thing about this league is these guys know how to paint up some cars.
Yeah, and in fact, we've had Mike Alexander. He's designed a few cars as well, so he doesn't look like he's answered the call here so far, but he's designing a few cars, and as we can see with the 24 and the 38 battling, it's a little Chase Elliott scheme there on the 24 of Goodwin.
I love that scheme, and especially with the chrome wheels. That just looks so cool. I've always been a fan of the chrome wheels, but nonetheless, bringing it home is Corey Hall. Followed up by 2nd place, who just drove his butt off, was Stephen Matthews. And then 3rd place, who I believe came across being Brad Eddy. 4th place was that 25 ride. So great battles up front. Great racing up front. Not much of a battle, but we're already on to heat number 2.
So just to check with you here, Wes, says we're getting everything lined up. We're staring at the start-finish line right now.
Yeah, we are gridding.
Okay, I want to just make sure we're on the same page here, so I'm not calling 2 laps behind. I didn't even know that I was doing that at first, so just a couple little tech snafus that can happen. So are they rolling right now? Did they just start rolling?
We just started rolling. You are
perfect.
Right
all
on
right,
time, brother.
I was on mixer.
All right, so
hey, we got our tech issues. It's all good.
So up front, that beautiful number, it's actually the number 22 on your screen, which is Ricky Arbo. 22 on your screen, Ricky Arbo. It's not the 22 for us, but we're going to call it on your screen. Starting 2nd will be the 72 of Jamie Monroe. 3rd, the Shane Lively in the 22 machine. 4th, Andrew Lively. Interesting.
Brothers.
Okay. Mark Young in the 55, starting 5th. Starting 6th with David Roberts in the 28. 7, Owen Marr in the 66. Starting 8th, Craig Tolley in the 5. Starting 9th, Tony Wright in the 94. And that will round out your field. So we're going to get everything up and rocking and rolling and go back green flag racing.
Yeah, we got some Ricky Arbo fans watching. Ricky's right on the rear of the pace car. We're coming now to the start-finish line, and now we're green flag racing. Heat race number 2 underway.
That 55 car descends it in the corner there. He wants to get up to the front as soon as possible, and that's Mark Young. Mark Young in the 55, wasting no time putting the pressure onto the 72 of Jamie Monroe, and he takes that second position. Now Jamie Monroe is under fire from Owen Marr in the 66, and the 72 goes way up the track, opening up 3 more positions. Not a good start for the 72 ride of Jamie Monroe.
Yeah, lower sack hills. Jamie Monroe's on the outside looking in. And again with Langley, this is such a small track. I think it's going to be possible to get on that inside line unless you really throw yourself into that inside line, as he's side by side now with Craig Tully, duking it out there further in the back. And from my understanding, top 5 will be going on to the 125 lapper. Oh, the 72 gets tagged a bit by the 5. He saves it, but had to use the wall as a little bit of an adjuster there, which will cause a little bit of damage on the 72.
Not a good race for that 72. He's going to have to rely on the consi. I don't see him making up those spots here, Dylan. I think he's going to need a miracle to do so, especially with Ricky Arbo in that 22, the pace that he's laying down. Shane Lively, it's funny, the 2 cars that are running nose to tail are the 22, even though Ricky Arbo and the server's the 00, but we're going to call what's on his door there. But the 222 rides leading the field here.
Yeah, he's out in front, and as I mentioned, we do have some Ricky Arbo fans cheering him on the TCM's Facebook, and he's well out in front of Shane Lively. So, yeah, so a little information. Shane, Andrew, brothers, both legends racers here in the Maritimes, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a little sibling rivalry this evening.
Possibly. You know, it's always cool to see siblings race with each other. I used to race with my sibling once in a while as well on the NRO3 side of things back in the day. But it's always fun racing against either a sibling or a really close friend that's like a brother of yours. You just end up being even more competitive because you want to be faster and you want to be better. That's going to be an interesting story to watch, to see how the Lively brothers do with each other. That is Shane Lively and Andrew Lively. Right now, Andrew's sitting, looks like P4, and Shane's sitting P2, so that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's going to be a game of numbers there and how quick you can go up there. And in fact, the 22 design on Ricky's car tonight, saluting Kyle McKinnon, so that's pretty cool. So another paint scheme thrown on that 00. He was rocking the old Michael Waltrip Wood Brothers look a couple weekends ago. Coming down to 2 laps to go with Lively starting to reel in your leader. But again, top 5 are moving on to the Speedway 660 National 125 a little later tonight.
I don't think he's going to have the time, Dylan, to make this happen, as Ricky Arbo is setting a blistering pace earlier on in this race. He set himself with the lead that looks like it has enough padding to not have to worry about Lively there back in the other 22. But if he does slip up, that door may be open as they come through 3 and 4. One more corner to get it done. Can he do so? Working around the 94 lap car, and it is Ricky Arbo winning the second heat, followed up by Lively, Shane Lively that is, Mark Young, Andrew Lively, and Craig Tully is your top 5.
Just writing all this stuff down so my forgetful memory doesn't forget things.
It's right there in front of you.
Well, just for later. Pen and paper.
Oh, yep. All right. I understand.
Working on my penmanship.
I can't have pens in my house. My dogs eat them.
Oh, really? I got a cat. He kind of likes cables.
Oh, man. Is your cat like Garfield the Cable Guy?
Oh, and he likes lasagna too. So here's heat race number 3. Is that some cold ones I'm hearing popped or some pops?
I think that's Paul falling over.
Well,
Humpty needs to be put back together again. All right, so starting up front will be Josh Langille, no relation to Dylan in the booth. In the 18, he's starting pole. It's going to be an interesting third heat here to see what Josh can do. We've seen the pole sitter win each race, so we'll see if he can keep that trend going. Starting second will be Sean Pierce in the 21. Cool Wood Brothers ride there. Corey Hallett in the 057 starting third. Starting fourth will be Byron Bartlett in the 7. Mark Williams in the 42 will be starting fifth. 6 will be Chuck Morehouse in the 29. Starting 7th will be Derek Lewis in the 02. He is on pit road, though, for some reason. That's interesting. Starting 8th will be Andrew McBurney in the 27. Starting 9th will be Donnie Bernard. And then rounding out your field will be Sam Rogers in the 12. So interesting starting lineup. Seeing one of the drivers having to start down pit road. Maybe he didn't grid in time. And you never want that, because when there's no cautions, there's no way you're winning if you're starting on pit road.
Can't win the race sitting on pit road. That I don't think that's ever worked out in the history of racing ever. Two Nova Scotians on the front row there, Josh Langille, Sean Pierce. And that's the cool thing that I've said about doing this iRacing deal is you've got a Legends racer on the inside, a Maritime Pro Stock Tour driver on the outside. Very rarely would those drivers really race each other on the racetrack in real life. We're getting to see that this evening.
We are, and it's cool seeing that. We do that on every Wednesday with our new Smyrna League brought to you by Edgewater Screens. We get to see those guys race side by side with drivers they get to race with in real life, as well as they continue to wait for updates on their track opening up. Speaking of tracks opening up, Josh Langille sees a green flag, and he opens up his lead. You see that segue? From the 21 of Sean Pierce to start off onto the backstretch.
Yes, very nice, in fact. So, from my estimation of even just watching the previous two heat races, if a driver wants to get on the inside, he's going to have to knock the first place driver in front of him out of the way, because that outside lane, at least right now, doesn't look like it's really developing for the drivers.
It's not whatsoever, Dylan. You're absolutely right. And that's kind of concerning as a driver, knowing that there is only one lane. And the only way that you're going to pick up positions is A, the driver in front of you, he slips up and you're able to get a nose under him, or B, you slip him up and get a nose under him. So it's just one of those things where you got to really time your passes accordingly.
Oh, we got a spinner. We got the spinner. It looks like the 46 spinning in the inside. That's Donnie Bernard. I know we got a lot of Donnie Bernard fans watching this evening. Not good for Donnie. Looks like he's going to have to go to the consies if he wants to make the big show this evening.
Tough break. The Scots car tearing up the grass. Maybe he's down there, maybe giving this track a quote to treat their lawn.
Did a few seeds fall out of the back by chance?
I'm not sure if that was seeds or pellets. It's hard to sell. I can tell he's not happy, though. Back up front, coming to lap 6. Josh Langille still leading, but the battle for 5th is raging on. As actually, that's battle for 4th with Mark Williams in the 4 position. Sam Rogers already up to 5th. He started shotgun on this field. Sam Rogers knows how to get it done here at TCM, and especially at Langley. This guy's just a short track veteran. He does a great job as he gets the bumper almost to the 42 there, saying, hey, I'm here. That's strike 1. Let's see if he can work his way around him.
Yeah, Sam's a really good iRacer. In fact, a really good racer in general on the real tracks here in the Maritimes, as he's putting a lot on the 42 of Williams, now on board with the number 12 of Sam Rogers. And again, don't really have to push the envelope too much. Sam is safe, currently sitting in that 5th position to move on to the Speedway 60 National 125 coming up in a little bit. Want to thank you guys at Vidane TV for putting this on again. And my buddy Tim Terry at Tim's Corner Motorsports for throwing on this iRacing on another Friday night. Great weather here in Langley, Virginia. In Hampton, Virginia, here at the Langley Speedway. So no complaints there, as Josh Langille still pacing the field with Sean Pierce still sitting in 2nd.
This has seemed to be the trend here in these heat races, as these guys just kind of ride the bottom. They pick up the spots as drivers slip up. We haven't really seen the bumper used to make up a spot yet, at least not up towards the front. Usually if you're starting with the lead, you're ending with the lead. But this is the closest battle we've had this late in the race. As we take the white flag, Josh Langille's mirror is filled with the 21 of Sean Pierce as the white rag is shown.
One more time around here for Josh Langille. A lot of pressure from Sean Pierce on the rear there. Will Sean be able to close it in as we come towards the final lap? One more time around turn 3 and 4. And Josh Langille's going to hang on and get this heat race win.
Great job by Josh Langille, going flag to flag there, followed up by Sean Pierce. Byron Bartlett will get 3rd, Mark Williams 4th, and then Sam Rogers from back to the pack to 5th place.
Excellent race from both Josh Langille and Sean Pierce, as you can see. There's the top finisher. So Byron Bartlett and Mark Williams and Sam Rogers are going to move it on to the Speedway 660 National 125 a little later this evening.
Now, Dylan, I do have to ask. I'm down here in the production trailer, and I'm trying to keep an eye on both the Facebook chat and the YouTube chat at the same time while doing the producing. And this has got to be a Canadian thing because I've never heard the term before. But we've got Vance McMillan in Facebook saying, "Way to feed her the corn." Is that a Canadian thing? What does that mean?
That sounds like it's more of an Iowa thing. Isn't that the land of corn? Or am I wrong and say I've never heard that? So.
Well, maybe we can get Vance to explain it a little bit.
Iowa has corn, and what does Canadian have? What do you guys, beer?
Beer, poutine.
Poutine.
Poutine, yeah, poutine we got some poutine.
No, the French fries with the gravy on it.
Oh, okay.
Poutine, come on, man. Try and keep up.
Never mind. I thought we were talking about Poontang.
PG.
Anyway, Greg Thorne in the 093 will be starting pole. The 141. Richard Drake will be starting second. Third will be David Cassidy in that beautiful 13 ride. I like that. Go Dan. Starting fourth will be the 81. Colin, is it Boudreaux?
Boudreaux.
You're gonna have to. All right, that's the first one up for me tonight. John Veron in the 57. Lining up fifth. Then you're going to have the 71 of Martin Landry. Riley Duncan starting in the 097 behind them. And the inside of him will be at the 90 of Craig Kenny. The 89 of Conrad Murphy and Noah Healy in the 84. Rounding out your field as the green has flown. The sun sets on this track in a beautiful manner. I love how that looks here. That is gorgeous as they go down into 1 and 2. And there's the 093 starting. He pulls away.
Yeah, this is going to be a really nice race, and for the drivers as well. With iRacing, you can adjust the temperature and the weather and everything. I know a few drivers weren't exactly fans of the hot and slick racing, so tonight it's actually going to be raced a little bit later for the actual 125 lapper coming up in a bit. So that's going to be interesting to see the drivers here on a cool track as McKay is out in front, or pardon me, the 93 of Thomas is out in front. That's Greg Thorne. What the heck am I saying? The text is so little on my screen. That's Greg Thorne in the 093, my mistake. Sitting up in front right now. Got some other cars kind of duking it out. There's the 141 of Richard Drake, who's had some tremendous showings here in these special TCM events. He actually almost won the Petty International Raceway deal last Saturday on a strategy of not pitting. Ended up getting a top 10 finish.
Craig Kenny there in that 90. He's been under fire all race from Colin in that 81, that Wonder Bread car. Since the drop of the green, Colin's kind of kept them in arm's length. Some of these guys getting a little bit further out. They were side by side for a little bit. One driver that is a side by side is Greg Thorne in that 093 up front, as he's just in his own world out there. We're basically single file throughout the field. Right now, your closest battle is probably going to be with that 13 of David Cassidy and John Perron in that 57, as well as the 141 of Richard Drake and Craig Kenny into the 5. Everybody knows the tail as the 141 gets loose off of turn 4. He opens up the door on the outside to the 90, but can the 90 of Craig Kenny make it happen?
See, that's what I've been saying. It doesn't seem like the outside is really working for some of the drivers. As watch right there, you can see the 141 getting much more grip on the inside compared to the 90 of Craig Kenny. Kenny's kind of running a different scheme. Usually he rocks the GM Goodwrench scheme. Tonight he's rocking kind of a Joe Nemechek UAW scheme.
Something like that. I think that's a throwback to Front Row Joe, so we can definitely go with that there.
Yeah, got a Ricky Bobby one in between those drivers and the number 81 currently, and that is Colin Boudreaux from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, down the French shore here. 4 laps to go for Thorne in that 093 from Fredericton, New Brunswick. In fact, for some of the fans maybe watching Vidane TV or wondering, what is Speedway 660? Well, that is a maritime track in Geary, New Brunswick, one of the premier racetracks in Atlantic Canada, and they've got some exciting racing going on, hopefully sooner than later in 2020, but they've got the McLaughlin Roof Trusses 250, one of the crown jewels here in the Maritimes, and we can't wait to get back there soon enough. Coming up to 1 lap to go for the 093.
1 lap to go for Greg Thorne. He hasn't had any pressure since the drop of the green, and That definitely has not changed as he works his way through 3 and 4 here to come across the line. And Greg Thorne will bring home the win in heat number 4. And that will be followed up by David Cassidy in the 13, John Braun in the 57, the 141 of Richard Drake, followed up by Colin Bordeaux in the 81. So pretty uneventful heat season here, guys. All 4 heats, a little bit of action in the first couple, but single file most of the way through.
This has got to be a rarity. There wasn't any cautions during the heat races. And that looks like it's going to wrap up the heat races. So
in order to have cautions, Dylan, you got to have passing. We just didn't see any of that.
That's true, and maybe we'll see some passing in these Consi races. This is Consolation Race, the C-Main, if you will. To move on to the big show tonight, so from my understanding, the top 3 will be moving on. Everybody else will have to watch on Vidane TV or Tim's Corner Motorsports this evening for the Speedway 660 National 125.
Yep, we skipped over a C-Main and just went to B. The top 6 will move on to the main. The top 6 will start at the rear of the main. So these are the drivers that did not move on from the heat races. So starting pole will be the 06 of Jason Gallant. Next to him will be 66 of Owen Marr. Behind them, the 057 of Corey Hallett. And then starting 4th will be Craig Kenny in the 90. As they get rolling here. Waiting for them to rock and roll so we can get everything the way we need it to be. There we go, Jason Halverson in the 91. Starting that next row back, and then it's going to be Jamie Monroe in the 72. 29 of Chuck Morehouse. 71 of Martin Landry. 27 of Andrew McBurney. 94 of Tony Wright. The 044 of Chris Ewing. On the top shelf of him will be the 097 of Riley Duncan. Donnie Bernard in the 46. We saw him cutting grass in that Scott's Guard board earlier.
Beautiful.
And then it's going to be the 28 of David Roberts. And then we have the 89 of Conrad Murphy. Noah Healy in the 84. The 75 of Mike Alexander. He was unfortunate enough, did not get to make his heat race, so he has to line up last place in this Consi. Can Mike make it all the way up to the top 6? This should be a doozy, ladies and gentlemen. 20 laps. We are green.
Mike Alexander's going to have his work cut out for him.
71 goes around. 71, 41, 89. Big wreck, Dylan. I'm sorry. Then just calamity in the turn 1, lap 1.
That's okay. We didn't have any cautions during the heat races. We need some craziness tonight.
Man, oh man, that was just it looked like a chain reaction. The 71 got wrecked. A little bit of a checkup. The 46 Scott's Guard card decided to punt the Camel 044. And then the 89 got caught up. Paul, what you got for us?
Yeah, we'll take a look at it here on the Speedway 660 instant replay here on Vidane TV, and you can see the 71's up high, 94 behind him, and just drives right into him.
Bam!
Holy moly. That's a good-looking car, though. The 94, that's my number, and he's actually running that nice X-Lander blue, that cyan blue. I love that. Throwback to when I first started sim racing with my own company there. But, yeah, he just gets dumped there, and you can see that camel car down low. It looks like he was trying to avoid the wreck. And just gets caught up on that real flat apron and gets the car spun around. Looks like he might have had a little bit of help from the back, but tough break. A lot of damaged race cars here in the Consi. You see the 89, the hood actually came up on that. Mike Alexander makes it by the 84 makes it by of Noah Healy. So no damage there. A little bit of damage in the 71s. Hopefully these guys can get it taken care of on pit road. Get the virtual hammers out, start banging on that sheet metal, and see what they can get. Try and get up to that top 6.
Go cockpit here real quick on the 89 of Conrad Murphy. You kind of get an idea what it looks like when you're inside a race car and a hood is up in your face. And we talked about it in the pre-race, how this series, this division on iRacing has an updated damage model. And this is Exhibit A of it. You're not going to see this in any other model on iRacing. It's going to be interesting to see if he stays out on the track. And if he does, keep your eye on that 89 because you're going to have to watch this race for him. Because you can see.
Yeah, that was a hard hit from the 89 as, yeah, we're on board watching. And that's certainly a hard hit there, Wes. And you know what I'm blown away with? That tobacco companies can still advertise here on iRacing. I figured that Camel wouldn't be able to do it, but here we are.
You should see some of the advertising in the sponsors in our Wednesday Night News Smyrna League. You should see some of the primary sponsorships on those rides. Nonetheless, lights are off here. The pace car.
It's like the good old days. It's like the good old days.
It is. The sponsorships are spread eagle, believe me. So the 06 of Jason Gallant gets the green flag, and we are green. The battle for second heats up already with the 66 of Owen Marr, and the 90 got another one around. The 057 to 097.
2 around.
Oh man, the 89 again.
Oh.
The 89 never pitted, Dylan. His hood is back down though.
Well, we're gonna need another replay on board the 89 there.
We have to. There's no way the 89 could have seen that coming, Dylan. He never pitted. His hood was up that entire time. He got looks like he got punted by the 94, but the 057 gets spun there to begin that out. Couple other cars as well, the 097. Horrible look. What you got there for us, Paul?
Well, right off the rip, we're going to jump on board with the 89. You asked, and we delivered. Conrad Murphy, we're going to take a look and see exactly what he saw here. And you can see they're under caution. Green flag flies, and you can see the hood is just kind of bobbling in the wind there. That is not good. He needs to get some duct tape or some Bondo or something. And
he gets punted around there, I think, by your boy there in the 94.
Seems like it. Man, there's some awful sounding gear noise, something happening with that race car. That is not good. You can see there's a lot of damage in that car. We'll back it up here, take a look at one of the TV cameras, and you can see the 057, check that, is involved. The 71's involved again. The 94 dumps the 89, it looks like. So, looks like the, who's that? The 057 up ahead there. 057, 097. A lot of cars in here, so we'll back it up a little bit. And you can see it gets down low, and just the 097 gets into the back of the 057. 27 gets in the back of the 097. 28 gets up in there, and there you see that's 75. Mike Alexander avoiding another wreck. I think that's going to be the story. That's you're going to see the 75. I'm going to start calling him Iron Man because he wins all the time. He avoids wrecks, and he does very, very good at getting himself up front. Right now, you can actually see on our timing and scoring, he's running P9 after starting shotgun here in the consolation race. So.
Here's the thing, Paul, that concerns me for Mike, though. These caution laps are counting. He needs green flag laps. Yes, he's already came up from the back because he's passing wrecked cars, but he still needs to get up there 3 more positions. It's hard to do that when you're just sitting around here pacing.
Most definitely, and you can see right now we're looking at him, and not really any damage on that car. So definitely good news there for Mike Alexander. We need a couple of green laps. We're halfway down, halfway to go here in the Consi, and you can see he's kind of weaving back and forth, trying to get those tires warmed up and get ready to go. Man, I'm going to say he's going to be strong throughout the rest of the night.
I think that's a great bet as the pace car heads off of pit road, and we are back green flag racing here at Langley Speedway as our lead pack is still the same as it's been. They're side by side, 3-4 wide further in the back. That's not going to work. And it's not working. 71 in the 097 spinning alone. Oh, when the 097 hits a telephone pole or something. Oh my God, he's stuck in the grass, boys. He has parked it. Riley Duncan is done. He might need a neck brace after that.
He may need a visit to the EMTs after. And here's a pass for the lead. Craig Kenny goes underneath the 06. Jason Gallant falls to second. And we've got some company as well. A lap car in front. 66 Owen Marr in that Wonder Bread scheme sitting in third. And guys, if there is one driver that can make it to the top 6 from starting at the back, I believe it will be Mike Alexander.
He's there.
He's there.
27
he is right there.
in front of him. The 27 just wrecked in front of him, and he just barely missed that. It looks like we're going to stay green. The 27 got loose coming off of 4 in front of the 75 of Mike Alexander. Somehow Mike is able to miss it. He's sitting 5th, from dead last to 5th now as we're coming up to 6 to go.
Mike knows what he's doing. In fact, there's the 71. The hood is up on front of the 71. How the heck can they even see? Mike, you want to get around that guy as quick as you can. There he goes. Mike Alexander, the Iron Man, we're calling him. Tough guy, Mike Alexander, working his way through the field, starting at the back, and now we're on board with Martin Landry. He can see a little bit out of the driver's side as he's passed by a few cars, but oh boy, that's an interesting view. Hey, good advertising for Logitech, I suppose.
It is, as well as the 71 is now newly sponsored by Helen Keller. Helen Keller can't see a dang thing. As we work our way around here to 4 to go, And Mike Alexander in that 75, he's using all of the track, Dylan, including the apron. We didn't see much of that in the heat races, but Mike is working his way, and he's one of the only cars that I see that's really utilizing that apron compared to anybody else out here.
Hey, if it works, it works for sure, and it's working for Mike Alexander. He is sitting in that final transfer spot currently. Now he's looking underneath the 91. In fact, he was a spot in front, so he's got even extra insurance to make the big show tonight. 3 laps to go. There's Owen Marr underneath Galant. Oh, the 91! Tangled up with the 72 in turn 4. No caution on the speedway yet. Now the caution flies. And will this set up a green-white checkered?
Wrecking big time in the back, still wrecking 84, 057, 044. Everybody's wrecking as the leader comes around and has to kind of slam on his brakes, saying, whoa, 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 I don't want a part of this party. Leave me alone. So, man, this is the battles that we've been waiting to see. We didn't get to see it, unfortunately, in the heat races, but now we're going to see this action here in the Consi, and this is like your last chance to make the show. So you expect the heat to start to vamp up a bit, and Dylan, we're getting exactly that.
This is all what short track racing is about, ladies and gentlemen, watching tonight on Vidane TV and Tim's Corner Motorsports. This is what it's all about, watching cars beat and battle. We've got Mike Alexander coming from the rear of the field now in a transfer spot. He could be a contender in this race. And, Paul, we got a little replay of what brought out that caution with only a few laps remaining.
Yeah, we got the 89 DuPont, good-looking Jeff Gordon flame car there, and you can see the 84 right behind him, and just gets right into the back of him, jacks the back end, completely destroys the front end of the 84, and sends the 89 down into John Deere country down there in the grass. And I definitely believe there were more cars involved in that, as we had a second wreck there. You can see there's a bunch of cars already on pit road. We're just going to try and see if we can't. You see the 71 is going around the track. Still has that hood flopping on his...
Bring up the 72 there, Paul.
We'll bring up the 72. What do we got here? So this is
72.
After that's very true. The unsponsored 72 ride. Looking for sponsors, and this is the way to do it. Right here, getting your TV time. We'll fast forward. You see Mike Alexander right there, 91, and the 72 just he was staying down low. I don't think the 91 came down. It was just two guys going after the same piece of real estate. But once again, 75, Mike Alexander gets through another wreck. And then you see a little bit of retaliation there, it looked like, from the, not the 89, from the 94.
Oh, hell, it was all breaking loose back there, Paul.
Yeah, that was...
If you can't keep up with
yeah,
it,
I'm just
watching it live and
couldn't. This is another one of those things where you really should have just looked at it in the... Yeah, that was absolutely intentional.
Oh my goodness! This is like the county fair demo derby on the front stretch here.
We'll let Tim Terry handle with all that. We'll send him a note or something.
All right, guys, you got 1 of 5 green-white checkered attempts, 1 of 5. So we want to make sure this gets taken care of under green.
Hey, Wes.
For this Chansey.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, we got Tim.
The great thing about this is we have this set up as a 10-minute B-main because we figured we would have 2 of these last chance qualifiers. They have hit the time limit. I believe they will go green and white together, but it may be a green-white checker finish. I know Paul's sitting down there wondering how ATVO works with this, and I'm kind of wondering too. So strap in, top 6. This is the only last chance qualifier.
Guys,
Bring us.
Tim just told you first, you're not going to see another caution. You are not going to see another caution no matter what happens here. They don't want this thing ending under caution. We're going to see green flag race until the end as a 90 of Craig Kenny gets a jump, but the 66 does not. The 66 taking 3 wide going into 1. The 06 and 75 of Mike Alexander moving up to second place from last to second. Mike Alexander making it happen. Here we go. They're wrecking hard in the back. The 46 is intentionally wrecked the 94 possibly. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, it is a show in the back. The 46 intentionally wrecks the 94 on the last lap. My Lord.
Yeah, the big question is, who finished 6th there? Is it really 3rd onward? Everyone's wrecking at the back there. People just sending it into turn number 3, trying to make this big show. Oh my goodness, the 94 going right in. Big mashup there. But all we know is that Mike Alexander for sure is moving on to the Speedway 660 National 125 tonight. The big question is, who else is joining him?
All right, guys. So take a quick break from the action as we are going to go to the National Anthem.
Okay, folks. We're getting ready for the National Anthem here. If you're able to, would you please rise for singing of O Canada?
O Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all of us command. Quatre ombres se porte l'épée, il se porte la croix.
From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land. Glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Drivers, start your engines.
Bringing it back here live to Langley Speedway for the Speedway 660 National 125 presented by Tim's Corner Motorsports. The last final minute here of warm-up. We got the heat races out of the way. We got the qualifying out of the way. We got the consi out of the way. And right off the rip, I actually want to jump right into the booth picks. And I wanted to jump out in front of this first because I wanted to make the first pick because the production guy usually gets forgotten about. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say the 75 Ironman, Mike Alexander, is going to win this race. Wes, who you got?
Man, I hate that you picked him because that's my pick, and I hate picking the same damn person that somebody else does, but you're going with Mike. I'm going to go with Craig Kenny in that 90.
What are you guys picking my pick for? I want.
That's why I wanted to go first.
I feel good about Mike Alexander. He's proven to be the Ironman here, but another driver to look out for, Mr. Danny Chisholm. He has won a few of these special TCM events, won the Petty Raceway deal last weekend. I think he can get it done tonight at Langley.
Man, those are typically the three to watch for, so I feel like we're safe on that one. So everybody that's watching, thank you for watching. If you're on Vidane TV on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button as we have action being called about 6 days out of the week now these days. 6 days out of the week, multiple times on weekends. If you're on Facebook, go to Vidane TV and hit that like button. You can see all of our actions, exclusive driver interviews and spotlights on our Facebook page with all different leagues, including the New Smyrna League on Wednesday nights. Thanks to all of our sponsors as well that help to make everything happen. So we are going to grid. You ready to make this thing happen?
I'm ready, man. This is going to be really exciting. Let's look through your starting lineup on the pole tonight. My pick tonight, Danny Chisholm in the 87, side by side with Craig McDonald sitting in the number 9.
All right, and that number 9, a little Coca-Cola ride. Nice little Coca-Cola ride here on your screen. So it will be the number 1. He's running the custom paint job.
Old Dale Jr. throwback in Japan.
Yep, yell at him, not us. All right, starting third will be Corey Hall in the 08. Outside of him will be Ricky Arbo in one of the 22s tonight.
Starting in 5th, Josh Langille, winner of one of the heat races earlier. Next to Greg Thorne, another heat race winner this evening at Langley.
And behind them will be the 56 of Stephen Matthews. Hanging out on the outside of him, starting 8th, will be the other 22, Shane Lively.
Row number 5, we see the 21 of Sean Pierce and Rational Richard Drake in the 141 this evening.
Starting 11th will be Brad Eddy in that 6 machine, and the outside of him, starting 12th, will be the 55 of Mark Young.
In row number 7, Corey Hallett and David Cassidy, the number 13.
That's going to be a fun battle to watch, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
And then as you're going to see it come across your ticker here, the rest of the field, we're about to go green flag racing as the pace car is about to head its way around 3 and 4 here. down into pit road. Waiting. It's a
Waiting.
Mustang. Don't break down. All right. And we are green. Danny Chisholm sees it, and he wants it, and we are off. He fires down into 1 and 2. Danny Chisholm in that 87. He didn't have to worry about these races here in the heat races because he got to qualify up front. So he got to move on. The number 1 on your screen, Craig McDonald, settles into second place. Third place, 08 of Corey Hall. Fourth is that 22 of Ricky Arbo, and then the 18 of Josh Langille.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing a few cars with different numbers here. That's okay. We know the drivers, Craig McDonald, Ricky Arbo, familiar racers here on iRace. And you can see, in fact, Danny Chisholm's got kind of a rowdy paint scheme, Rowdy Burns, Rowdy Bush, if you will, and that number 87, the Exxon Ride. I'm wondering if Danny's going to get a little rowdy tonight on Friday night, as there's the 90 of Craig Kenny off the pace in front of your leaders on the inside. Not good for the driver who worked his way into these races through the heats. Not good for him, in fact, at all, as he's on the inside as we're on lap number 4. And there is the number 1/9 of Craig McDonald. The only reason I recognize that paint scheme, I was literally watching the old NASCAR race at the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan a couple nights ago.
Update on the 90. Oh!
I think Danny Chisholm just spanked the wall.
He may have. Man, oh man, did our leader just hit the wall. I was going to update you. Craig Kenny got wrecked by the 66 with no caution through turn 2 that last lap. But we got action on the track. That could be drama for our leader. Man, oh man, if Chisholm hit the wall, and these wall shots are not easy to take here at Langley. It looks like he may have, but that accident was pretty big, Paul.
Yeah, we're going to take a look here on the cockpit of the leader, Danny Chisholm, and man, you can see he heads on down into turns number 3 and 4, 1 and 2. Check that. The 55 was just on the track, right in the racing groove, and he goes up high, tags that wall, man. He tags it pretty good. We'll see if we can get a camera shot of the outside of that car. Of course,
Paul,
it doesn't.
If you go back about a half a lap, you'll see what happened with the 55. He gets turned by the 141 that lap prior.
Just taking a look at the outside of the Danny Chisholm machine. Doesn't look like it's too bad. He kind of pancaked it just a bit. But we'll take a look here, see what happened to the 55. You can see he's on the outside of the 81 Wonder Bread machine and just heading on down into the corner. And you can see right behind him, a little bit of help from the 141. Tries to straighten him out, and nope, just doesn't hit anything to 55. He just kind of spins around, stops in the middle of the racing groove, spins it around again, tries to get going, and yep, there you see the leaders.
Oh,
so that was a little bit of a tag there for the iRacing generic machine there. But man, yeah, tough break for the 55, and scary moment there for the leaders.
That's the one thing that the admins work against here, Dylan, when you're doing admin-controlled cautions, is when you have a spin like that and you don't catch it right away, or you expect that driver to get up and going, sometimes it gets to the point where like, oh no, the leader's coming up to them, and then you have the consequences as we just saw. So tough break there for Danny. Hopefully it's not too bad.
Yeah, and we saw Danny make big contact with the pit wall in Myrtle Beach on Sunday, so you know Danny wants to redeem himself from that, but pancaking the wall early on. Caution laps do count here at Langley. We're at Langley Speedway based in Hampton, Virginia, down in the US of A. Beautiful evening here on the iRacing. And this race, again, brought to you by Speedway 660. We want to thank them for hopping on this afternoon. Give them a like on Facebook. They put on tremendous racing in the summer. Of course, we're all in it together. Hopefully, we get to see some racing action this summer or fall here in the Maritimes. But Speedway 660, if you're looking for one of the beautiful tracks to go race at, you will find a very beautiful track there in Geary, New Brunswick. There's Speedway 660. And we, of course, want to thank them again for hopping on tonight. As we are doubled up here, getting ready to fire off again, Wes.
All right, waiting for that pace car to head down pit road this time around. We're going to restart here so you guys can see a great view of this track from what we call our chopper view. So you get a great view of the leaders here, the sunset, as the sun sets on Langley Speedway. Beautiful rides out here. These guys take a lot of time making their paints or just downloading them on Trading Planes, whatever works best. But here we go, and green flag is out, and the one car there of Arbo playing some games with the 87. In another game he's playing his bumper cars as he bumps the 87 down into turn 1 and 2, but so far it's working out for him.
Craig McDonald sitting in second spot. Corey Hall in the 08 in third. Ricky Arbo in the 22 in fourth. On back, it's a minefield of race cars as everyone's trying to get on that inside line.
The leader blinked out. The leader blinked out.
Again, that's probably the second or third time we've seen that. So connection issues can be a huge problem. So I believe unless Danny Chisholm gets in, and now we'll bring the caution out again
27
here.
27 is involved here, Dylan. Going to get a look at it here in a moment. It looks like possibly it happened in front of the 27 just a little bit. Going to get a quick replay to see exactly what happened, but it looks like the 12 is going to be involved in this. The 12 car, as Paul is going to get us a replay here scrounged up. But again, and I hate to say it, that comes with this mod. What do you got, Paul?
Yeah, we're going to take a look at 27 car, and he's right behind the Wonderbread 66, and the 06 is up high. See 27 dips down low. He's on that flat apron, and he comes up just a bit. Okay, the action was in front of him. 27 was trying to avoid the wreck there, and he moves up the track and spins around the 77. So tough break for those guys. We're going to see if we can take a look at the 5 here. The Craig Tully 12 is involved as well. There's a couple of other wrecked cars. We'll back this up just a skosh. You see the 5, the 81, the 38, another Wonderbread car. That's not even where the action was. So we're going to take a look at the 12 of Sam Rogers. Back it up one more again. And you can see the 12 car was on the outside of the 42. Looks like they may kiss doors just a bit. And the 12 car gets around. See big damage to the 5 car. Man, that's a tough break. 71 gets by. No harm, no foul. But 27 around there, you see the Wonderbread 66 machine was around as well. So tough break for those guys. A lot of damaged race cars toward the back of the pack.
And did you notice who got through that wreck again? The 75.
Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Ironman Mike Alexander got through that wreck on the inside. If he's able to avoid disaster, even though he's flirting with it, you watch, fans. He's going to be at the front of the field before you know it.
Here's a little bit of storyline for you. Off the track, gone from the server, it looks like, was our leader, Danny Chisholm.
Oh, it's a shame for him. And unfortunately, internet issues can hamper a driver's driving abilities, and that's usually out of the control. I mean, I know Danny lives in the Valley, and different parts of Nova Scotia and the Maritimes don't have the most reliable internet, so a shame for Danny. Was hoping. He's my pick, so there we go. That's that's out of the window. Thanks, internet. But that's going to overturn the lead to the number 1 of Craig McDonald, throwing an old Dale Jr. throwback scheme. I love that Polar Bear number 1 Coca-Cola scheme, and the history behind it. For a NASCAR fan that's been watching for a long time, NASCAR did exhibition races in Japan in the 90s. Dale Jr.'s first Cup start alongside his father, Dale Sr., in that number 1 with that same paint scheme.
Yes, and it was actually 1998 when they ran this, or 97 or 98. It was over in Yakuza, Japan, or something like that is when he ran this. So much fun. It's one of the first times he got to ride side by side with his father. But the green flag is out. Craig McDonald is your leader, diving it down into turn 1. These guys really don't have that long of a straightaway to build up the speed here at Langley. So you got to get that jump on the start. You don't get to hold that wheel straight for too long, as the top 4 are nose to tail.
No, and that's the thing with Langley here. It's basically turning left the entire time. It's only a third of a mile speedway here in Virginia. Similar to Riverside, but a little smaller, and those turns are hardly banked as well. So it's basically a flat bull ring here in the middle of Virginia, as we're on board now with Corey Hall in the 08. So we've got some Corey Hall Racing stable crew in here tonight, including Mr. Hall himself as he paces around the field. For some fans watching tonight, if you're thinking, these cars look a little different, tonight we are driving the ARCA National.
Got to spin in the back. The 12 just dumped the 5. The 12 just dumped the 5. Watch that one live. The 12 went into 3 and 4 and dumped the 5.
So Craig Tully on the pit road, and you can see a lot of damage on the 5 there. And just mentioning there, Wes, yeah, so tonight we're racing ARCA-style cars. So they look like the old NASCARs we would have watched around 2004, 2005, that similar body. And they're a bit heavier than the super late models, so that's going to be a big adjustment for some drivers who've been used to driving the super late models here on these TCM events.
All right, so let's play a game here, guys. Let's go in the cockpit of Sam Rogers here once we come around to the replay. And I think we're going to play this game, hopefully not too much tonight, but intentional or not. So when we get this replay of Rogers, he just kind of sends it on the apron and just whoop into the 5. We'll get a cockpit view of that as well. Once you see that, I want you to tell me, Dylan, was that intentional or not?
Well, let's watch the replay here. Let's watch the footage together. Well, the hood's up on the 5 already, so that's one thing. Little bit of a love tap there, so okay.
I almost want to say
no, not intentional. No,
yeah,
I think he
just overdrove it.
He was overdriving it, probably trying to get around the 5. I mean, if you're in the cockpit and you see the driver in front of you's got their hood up, you want to get the heck around them really quick.
Yeah, you know that driver's view is limited, but at the same time, Dylan, I really don't want to be in front of him either, because I don't want to be anywhere near him.
No.
Nonetheless, both drivers get the end of longest line penalty here. That's the way they do it at Tim's Corner Motorsports. If you are involved in the wreck, you get the penalty if you are at fault or not. So it's kind of a, hey, got to watch out for each other. Nobody wants to go to the back.
And that's a shame for Sam Rogers. I mean, for sure, he was just trying to get around the 5 at Tully, and I don't think in my announcing career I've seen a hood fly up on a car in person.
Is
but
the 12's crew not wearing clothes, Paul?
And
it's okay.
I'm almost hesitant to change the camera angle.
Nobody wears pants anymore. Everyone's at home with COVID-19, at least working because of COVID-19. So who needs clothes on?
But they're wearing helmets. They have no clothes.
Safety first.
Oh man! I mean, it's. I guess it's better than wearing gloves and masks. I guess I don't know. Boy, we're living in some weird times. You ever seen the movie Idiocracy? That's the times we're living in right now.
Yeah, these are weird and unprecedented times for sure. And well, there we go, fans. We didn't get to see the peep show tonight, so that's good.
It's Magic Mike and the pit crew of the 12, though. If you guys want to go check it out, it's $5 a swing.
Hey, I'd pay to have Kevin Nash on my pit crew, T-shirt or no T-shirt.
That big, sexy, big diesel Kevin Nash?
Yeah, he's in the movie.
Make sure we're talking about the same Kevin Nash, or was another Kevin?
He was one of the guys in Magic Mike, but we're not talking about those movies tonight. We're talking about racing, and Craig McDonald in the 1 gets the fire. He goes in turn number 1, dives on the bottom, gets in front of Corey Hall, lap 27 and 125 for the Speedway 660 National 125.
Speaking of a Magic Mike, Mike Alexander working out on that high side, trying to get it going. No one else has been able to do so in that 75. He's been stuck out there. He dropped back from 11th to 13th on that restart because he couldn't get there. However, he's working his way back up to the field, getting back around the 093. And again, Dylan, he is the only one using the apron, and the caution is out one more time. 12 car of Sam Rogers. He is involved again.
Yeah, this track is so tight in with hardly any straightaway. I've been noticing a lot of cars are making contact and sliding out of the turns and slamming into each other.
It's actually going to be the 7 car and the 141 is where it starts. But you're right. It's slick. They're beating and banging. The 81's involved. Big one there, Paul.
Yeah, we'll take a look at here and the Vidane TV instant replay brought to you by Speedway 660. And, man, we're going to take a look. 7 cars up high and 141 down low. Man, that seems like to be a recurring trend, it seems like. Wonder Bread gets squished. The 12 gets squished. The 55 gets very broken. Take a look at that Mark Young machine. The front nose is caved in. The sides are caved in. There's a lot of damage on that car. Holy moly, look at that. That hood's getting ready to flap up like the other car we saw earlier on tonight. So tough break. A lot of guys shooting for the same real estate. 141 just kind of trying to stick his nose where it didn't really belong, and doesn't look like he's got too much damage on that machine. So that's good news for him. But we'll see what we can do. We'll get him down on pit road, get those virtual hammers out, bang, 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 and see what we get.
Quick update on Danny Chisholm, fans. He's actually in his pit stall, and he has to share a pit stall with the 5. So if you're from the state of Florida, you are very familiar with love bugs, and they look like 2 love bugs right now. As we see Danny Chisholm coming back on the track, tough break for him. You know, he's basically out of it, unfortunately.
I think we have GMTT Double T Tim Terry in the chat.
Hell yeah, we love TTs here.
GM, TT, QQQQQ, whatever you want to call me. They are we're getting ready to go back to green. We changed the single file restarts, boys, just to try to hopefully get some green flag laps in. There's been a lot of pushing and shoving near the back of the field trying to get to the front. It's a small racetrack, it's short track race, and you got to love it. I forgot to mention earlier tonight as well that we do have a TCM Clean Driver Award for the weekend. It goes to the driver that has 0 incident points that completes 240 laps between this race and the Tranquility at 125 coming up on Sunday. The tiebreaker is going to be average finish if we get to that, but if anybody...
Pretty safe on that one, Tim.
Well, we might be, but we'll see how it goes. There's a few drivers here with incident points tonight, but we'll see how it goes. You guys are getting ready to go back to green. Just wanted to share that little tidbit with everybody. Actually forgot to mention it at the drivers' meetings. It's the first time we're mentioning it. We forgot about it in race control, and we brought it up about 8 laps ago. So,
have
come
fun,
on, boys.
Tim. You should have mentioned it. Everyone would have been driving cleaner.
Well, most of those guys up front, it's not the issue. These guys up front have been putting on a show. So let's see if we can get 20 green laps in here and give them back their double file restart.
All right, and for you Mike Alexander fans, Mike Alexander has worked his way all the way up to that 12th position from starting pretty far back in the field. So as we are back green flag racing, diving down into turn 1, we are single file throughout the battle for the lead. Still kind of heating up here. Usually we see that one machine of Craig McDonald trying to pull away a little bit more, but there's that lead we're used to seeing Craig pull off right off the bat on Corey Hall, but Corey keeping him in tow.
I've watched these two drivers duke it out at Riverside Speedway, Scotia Speed World, and the Legends cars, and they always put on a show. Great to see them racing in the ARCA-style cars tonight here at Langley as they are setting the pace with Ricky Arbo in the 22 sitting in 3rd. Stephen Matthews in the 56 and Josh Langille sitting in 5th, rounding out the top 5. Brad Eddy also working his way up to the top 10. Kind of running an old Mark Martin throwback paint scheme this evening. So drivers are running different paint schemes tonight, which is pretty cool. As you can see, there is the 6 in P6 right now and Brad Eddy. Brad had a hard go on the weekend where he jumped the gun a little bit in front of Cole Butcher, given the black flag right away in a heat race. So now he's in the main show tonight. He is sitting in P6.
Quite a few cars still on the track here. Not many have retired that started this race, including Chisholm, who is in 27th. He's definitely the last car on the lead lap, but the battle for 9th is starting to heat up here as John Baran is under fire from the 38 of Travis Roma. But Travis, look who's behind you, Magic Mike Alexander.
We got a few nicknames for Mike Alexander. Iron Man, Magic Mike. Either way, he is casting a spell on the field here as he works around on lap 39, coming up to 40 here for the leaders here. 40 around next time. Mike, though, he has been putting on a tremendous effort. Start at the back of the consolation races. I really think Mike knows what he is doing with his iRacing. He's been doing it for a while. He's proved he can stretch tires and fuel at Myrtle Beach. We'll see if he can get through a minefield of race cars to get to the front here. And he's got plenty of laps left to go if we don't have a caution-littered race.
Right now, you see these guys battling really hard in front of him, and he's absolutely okay with that. You can tell he's not in a hurry. He's just biding his time. He's letting these guys wear out their tires. They're sitting right there in front of him. They're not going anywhere. So as you see, Jean Baran gets passed by Mike as Mike is working that apron, and that opens up the door for Sean Pierce. And I think Sean Pierce may have learned a thing or two from following Mike, as you see him now using that apron a little bit more than what he was before, coming across into turn 1 as I am called a liar, as he just goes straight up the track instead that lap.
Well, he's still following in the footsteps of the 75 of Mike Alexander, and that's probably the right thing to do. I'm just going to conserve, kind of follow along Mike and see. He is really here as he starts to chomp through all the cars in front of him. There's the 90 of Craig Kenny for just a moment, so some tough goes for him. We're back on the view of the 75 behind the 38 of Travis Roma. Craig McDonald is still the leader on lap 45 of the Speedway 660 National 125. Handed the lead after Danny Chisholm had some internet issues or whatever issues. It made him leave the race temporarily. Danny's back on track, but he is multiple laps down as he is side by side with another young driver in the 66 of Owen Marr.
Up front with the 08 of Corey Hall, watching his line here. He's running a little bit different line from Craig McDonald. He's driving in a little bit harder than Craig. He's gaining some ground on, caution is out. At 27 is a round of Andrew McBurney.
Yeah, right in front of the leader. So there's the 27 riding in the top of the track. And racing with an old Bobby Allison paint scheme, or a Dick Trickle paint scheme, if you will, in that old Miller GD car. And we're going to bring this replay up in just a moment here. As you can see, we've got another caution here. That was a long green flag stretch considering all the cautions we had at the start here. Made it through the heats without any cautions. That consolation race, pretty caution heavy towards the end. Paul, what brought out this caution?
Well, it looks like somebody just kind of shook up the old Miller Genuine Draft. You can see the 27 cars all by his lonesome here. And
overcorrected it.
I don't know if you would call that an overcorrect.
Well, he didn't undercorrect, I'll tell you that. And he didn't correct it. That was honestly, that was weird.
Yeah, you can see he comes out. I mean, not really a straightaway. Yeah, it's just a hard right, hard left, and yeah, tough.
Okay,
tough
let's
break.
play that game again, guys. Was it intentional?
That's kind of where my head's at.
We can play that. I mean, he just.
I think that's a pretty hard hit for it to be intentional. I mean, look how hard he slams the wall there.
I don't think he meant to hit it that hard.
Yeah.
Just from my experience, suspension doesn't break on iRacing, and you don't. That's a rough one. That's a rough one. Anyway,
Yeah.
Sam Rogers has retired from this race finally. He said, "I'm gonna go eat some pizza."
Ooh, pizza.
Pizza's good. I had pizza for dinner tonight.
That's an interesting one. We're gonna pull Tim Terry in here, just because I can.
What about talk about food?
Tim Terry.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What happened with 27 there? Did he break suspension?
We were trying to figure that out ourselves. We don't know if I don't know. We don't know if he got on the throttle a little too quick at a turn 2. We're going to give him the benefit of a doubt down here, but with this track being so small, the leaders were coming up on him. Kind of had to throw the yellow flag, kind of out of necessity, but it sucks for those guys that were up front that we have to pace a little bit more. But he's on his second caution. The rule is here, if you have 3 cautions that you are the initial contact involved in, you are part for the night. The 27 and 141 are currently at 2 of those 3.
All right, to the 100-some-odd live viewers that we have right now, there's a little bit of information from Tim. Tim, anybody that you would like to thank while you're in here real quick? Any sponsors, families, friends, anything like that?
Ooh, I feel like I'm a driver. This is great, Wes. I'd like to thank Speedway 660 tonight, Brent Dunphy, Brent Roy. I know Brent was going to try to race tonight, and he couldn't get out. The wife didn't let him come out to play, I guess, tonight, but he'll be here on Sunday and on Tuesday for the Invitational. Everybody that's helped Tranquility app coming on board this Sunday and was here last Sunday with us. You guys, Dylan Angel, Mike James for taking some time out and giving some familiarity to these broadcasts. But I got to shut up because we're going green.
All right, shut up. We're going green. That was Tim Terry. He's one of the more outgoing personalities that we work here with Vidane TV, and we absolutely love it. Somebody else that can keep up with our humor, our wit, and sometimes our ignorance. As the green flag is down for Craig McDonald, let's see if Corey Hall can do something with him again on this restart. We saw the last one, he kept him right at arm's length, and Ricky Arbo and that 22 black and green machine behind them. So far, we are clean through 3 and 4, these 3 battling it out hard.
Battling and duking it out here again with the short straightaways. It's just crazy to imagine as a driver that hard, constant turning to the left. I know that's a joke. Oh, we're turning left here, but literally they're almost turning left the entire time with hardly a straightaway, as there is the one of Craig McDonald completing lap 55 here, 55 at 125. Wes, what do you think? Tires, fuel? I don't think fuel will be that much of a factor since this is a really small track, but tire fall off towards the end. Could it be a big factor? Probably not for the 75. What do you think?
There's about 23 cars that it is and one that there isn't. And that driver's sitting in 10th now from the back, and that is Mike Alexander. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we saw him give up a race by making a late race pit stop, 4 tires. It cost him the race. It actually got him into an incident. Then the week after that, last week, he decides to do the opposite. He stays out onto the track, wins the race, doesn't pit a single time in 125 laps. He has me convinced that he can make tires happen no matter the circumstances.
And if you remember, race fans, on Sunday, Mike, after he won that race, admitted if there was another green-white checkered, that 75 would have been on empty, and he would have lost that race. So he's hoping there's a lot of fuel in the tank tonight as he is sitting in the top 10, working his way through the Craig McDonald in that number 1 is still pacing the field with Corey Hall in second, Ricky Arbo in the 22. So some different numbers as you can see on the scoring monitor. Craig is coming up as the number 9, 0-0 for Ricky Arbo, but they're running different numbers with their paint schemes tonight. Stephen Matthews still in the 56, sitting in 4th, and in 5th, it's Josh Langille in the 18.
One thing I love about this track is just the way that it looks. When I say the way that it looks, I mean just the atmosphere, seeing the sunset, and if we can get on board with one of these cars here, Paul, let's actually jump on board with our leader, since he has really nothing here in front of him of Craig McDonald. Just you get a pretty cool view from the cockpit of these cars when you're riding around. You got the sun setting in your eyes throughout 3 and 4 and going into turn 1, just like it would in real life. So I love that aspect here on iRacing, especially Langley here. They do a great job of having that as being realistic as possible. You come off that corner, cannot wait for the sun to get behind those grandstands and get to the backstretch. It could be, I could see where it could be a little uncomfortable when you're battling side by side coming off that corner.
Yeah, you don't want the sun glaring in your eyes. As we were on board there at 08, Corey has won a few races, TCM iRacing events. Yeah, but he's at the front contending whether he pulls off a strategy to stay and run the tires right to the copper wire, or if he just is there on pure driving ability, and he's proving that so far, as we had Ricky Arbo win a heat race a little earlier on this evening.
Man, the 13 of Cassidy, the 38 of Roma, and Mike Alexander in the 75, they have been beating bumpers for the last few laps pretty rough, which has allowed the 21 of Sean Pearson, Jake Goodwin in the 24 to catch up to them. This is just a big 5-car gaggle right now in between these 5. The 13 of Cassidy now getting freight trained on the outside, and it seems like the longer this race goes, the worse that outside gets. And I think, everybody's laying the rubber down on the inside. They're not getting an opportunity to rubber up that outside, and it's just getting worse and worse. And that moves Mike Alexander up to 8th place. Next on his target is going to be Travis Roma.
Mike Iron Man Mike is on the move as he is stomping through his competition. Back behind the 38 of Travis Roma. Travis, though, also moving up through the field. Cars are almost seeming to work together, and I really should say 3, because we also got the 21 of Sean Pierce right in tow behind the lap 68 here at Langley Speedway, a very small racetrack, over a third of a mile, but again, not a lot of real estate to move around that outside lane for anybody.
Yeah, the outside is not where you want to be, Mr. Langille, and that's been proven time and time again. And Travis Roman at 38 finally getting a little bit of space for Mike Alexander. Mike might be running out of steam, which is rightfully so. You can't blame the guy coming from the back, but up front, starting to heat up, Dylan. We got the 1 car of Craig McDonald, who is not alone. Corey Hall is all over his bumper, and Ricky Arbo right there with them in the 22.
This is way battle, a 3-way dance, if you will, for second and third, if you will, because you have Stephen Matthews and Josh Langille and Brad Eddy in their own 3-car pack watching this battle. I'm curious, will that outside lane be used eventually, or down really on the inside using the apron? The benefit of short track racing, no double line, no yellow line rule like NASCAR at Talladega. It's all fair game as long as you don't take your opponent out completely.
Yep, and this is short track racing. Things are going to happen, and it's part of it's nature here. It's par for the course. You expect that. So David Cassidy, by the way, in the 13, still getting freight trained. He's still stuck on the outside. He's fallen all the way back now, guys. I mean, he might be out of the top 15. He just let another group of cars go back. He's back to 14th. And before this fall, he was running 8th, I believe. So 15th, I apologize, 15th. So that just shows you, when you get stuck on that outside and you don't get down, you're going to have a bad time. But now the battle for 7th is heating up with Mike Alexander in the 75 and the 38 of Roma, as Roma is working his way through lap traffic.
We have crossed the halfway point, 75 in, 75 laps to go tonight. The Speedway 660 National 1. Langley Speedway, a track sort of familiar to Speedway 660. Speedway 660, I think, is a smidge bigger. But again, it's really proving to be tough for some drivers, as you were mentioning there. David Cassidy falling all the way on the outside. Mike Alex, Roma have caught caught up to Josh Langille and Brad Eddy. In fact, Brad Eddy has slid in that 5th position, getting in front of Langille.
And now he's battling for 4th with Steven Matthews. He works his way to the bottom, used a little bit of the bumper through 3 and 4. He's going to fall through in 1 and 2. The 18 of Langille trying to do the same. Great 3-car battle here for 4th. This is something that has been kind of rare up front. Up front's mainly been single file, but now we see the battle in the 56 falling victim to that outside. You're trying to muscle yourself. This, you know what, Dylan? This reminds me of old Bristol. 90s Bristol, where if you were on the outside, you were it was death. You did everything you could to get to the bottom, including moving the guy that was in front of you or behind you. So as now the 56 drops from about 4th to 8th.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, now Sean Pierce also putting some pressure on. You're exactly right there, Wes. And look who is now in front of the 56, Mr. Magic Mike Alexander. There's so many nicknames, I was forgetting his real name. Iron Man Magic, as he is still working his magic and moving through the field. And along with Travis Roma, that's a driver you want to consider maybe a dark horse here, as he's had some bad luck in these special TCM events, either getting wrecks or just unfortunate circumstances for himself. As the leaders go around some lap cars, this little pack also working on the slower cars in the track.
Now, you know, there's times where, as a driver, you say, hey, it's kind of a gentleman's agreement that's unspoken. Let's get through these lap cars before anything, and then after that, we will work our way around each other after that. Let's first get around the lap cars. That's typically what it is, but when you get later on in the race, you want to see those lap cars if you're 2nd or 3rd, because you want to make that move.
On board with Craig McDonald as he has the 5 of Tully, who's had their hood up in front of their car a few times this evening, as the leader is going to go underneath and build some pressure from Corey Hall and Ricky Arbo. That has been your steady top 3 after Danny Chisholm fell out a little while ago. Danny was leading the race. Whatever issues arose for that driver, he's fallen out here. There is the 1 of Craig McDonald, and there's the 87 of Danny Chisholm sitting behind the pace car. That does not get you to victory lane there, Wes.
It doesn't, and you can't help but feel for him after what happened. It was out of control. It's just it's mixture of this mod as well as his connection.
Look at all the lap cars in front of the 1. We've got the 7. We've got the 1 for Richard Drake. We've got beat up cars in front. There's the 7 moving very wide in front of your leaders, and now the 141 sitting in front. How much will this wear on your leaders trying to go around these slower cars? It doesn't seem to be wearing too much now. As you mentioned, that gentleman's agreement kind of working out with the lapped cars getting out of the way, and 2nd and 3rd, and really 4th, 5th, and 6th all kind of working together to get around these slower cars.
Yeah, and I'll tell you now, there's 15 cars still on the lead lap, and the 55, at least on my view, when I have my graphics turned all the way up, he's dragging something from the left front. When I say dragging something, you can see him sparking through the corners, just sparking all the way down. The backstretch, sparks flying out of the back of that car. I'm going to see if I can take a look around, possibly help out Paul here. Paul, if you want to go to rear chase on the 55, just look at the damage. There's a little bit more ripples in that Canadian flag than what this race started off with.
Mark Young in the 55 there, a lot of damage as we're kind of surveying here. And yeah, I've been seeing a few things drag.
Oh, battle for 5th. Josh Langille side by side with Travis Roma. He works his way under him. Not meaning to cut you off there, but we actually had something relevant to call there for a moment. So
that's fine. That's okay.
The 18 of Langille goes back, and that battle for 5th was, was short-lived. But hey, we got a little bit of excitement as now Roma's working around the 42 car, who has his hood in his face. So this should be interesting.
Well, I mean, things are starting to heat up with about 32 laps remaining. Oh, good. That's good. About 32 laps remaining here at Langley Speedway. 93 of 125, a very long green flag stretch. There's my throwing some pressure on Josh Langille, Travis around the 18. So there you have right there. You've got a couple of sportsman drivers making a sandwich with a Legends racer here as Brad Eddy goes around the 27 as well. Brad has raced Pro Stocks, you name it, he's raced it here around the Maritimes. A younger guy as well. Coming up to lap 95 here, we are coming down to the final bitter end, the nitty-gritty, if you will, with Craig McDonald still holding down P1.
You had to mention food.
Yep.
You had to mention food. You got 2 fat kids in the booth and you're mentioning food, and we still got 130 laps to go. Dylan, I hope you brought some sandwiches.
You got 3. I had some pizza tonight. And there's Corey Hall putting a lot of pressure on the one. Speaking of fast food, that Coca-Cola machine has a lot of pressure from the Robbie's Towing 08 of Corey Hall. And Ricky Arbo also holding on as well to the rear bumper of the 08. Coming up to the final end, as I mentioned again, when does the bumper get applied here in these ARCA-style cars? Is Corey Hall starting to peek under the number 1 a little bit?
They're starting to gap a Ricky Arbo just a little bit, not a lot, or maybe Ricky's just laying back and see what's going to happen here. So about a car length, half car length in between the 08 and the 1, and then Ricky Arbo in the 22 is making me a liar as he drives it hard into 1 and 2. But he's keeping a good 2 or 3 car lengths in between him and the 08 through down the straightaways. So I think he may be just abiding this time too, but it's awesome seeing the top 3 like this is battling. And checking further back, Travis Roma still running 5th. Josh Langille's still 6th. Mike Alexander still 7th. Sean Pierce in the 21 is 8th. 9th place belongs to currently Stephen Matthews, about a half lap back. And then 10th is Craig Thorne in the 093, even further back.
Corey Hall has been surveying that apron for a little bit as you were watching on board with some of the leaders. And there's a pass now. Corey Hall is now your leader here. And there's that devious outside lane falling for Ricky Arbo. In fact, Ricky Arbo now grabs the lead. A double change there on lap 100 as Ricky Arbo goes around the 08 and the number 1. Arbo, new leader here at the Speedway 660 National 125.
The 08 hit the wall. After the 08 passed him, Dylan, the 08 hit the wall, opened the door up for the 22, and that bottled them all up, and now that allows Ricky Arbo to grab the lead and pull away. That dropped Craig McDonald all the way to the 4th position after all of that. Brad Eddy got the door opened up for him. Now this has become a 2-car battle for the lead for now as we are on lap 103, but finally some drama up front.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a race right now. Ricky Arbo is your new lead. Filling in is Corey Hall after grabbing the lead for practically a millisecond, tapping the wall a bit. That opened the door for the 22 of Arbo, your previous leader. Craig McDonald in the number 1 is now in 4th. And look at Brad Eddy in the 6th, now in that previous, the prestigious, I should say, 3rd position. But he needs to really put the hammer down and catch up to Corey Hall.
He really does. It's time to do it. You know, the laps are winding down. You can only save tires and save your stuff for so long before it's time to say, all right, it's time to go. It's time to lay it all on the line, and I think that time has come. It's not going to take much longer here till you might start seeing those bumpers being used just a little bit more.
I'll tell you, though, Ricky Arbo is getting away from Corey Hall and I'm curious, was Ricky saving his equipment and his tires for this last stretch here as he is working his way through a litter of cars? In fact, he got double cars, double wide in front of your leader, the 5 now in front of the 22, and the 06 as well, as 06 is going to move out of the way of Ricky Arbo, and the 22 grabbing the lead 7 laps to go on lap 100, and he's got about 4 or 5 car lengths between himself and the 08 of Corey Hall.
Yeah, we didn't expect that. We expect to see some drama up front, but didn't expect that. Further on in the back here, the 75 of Mike Alexander putting the bumper to the 18 of Josh Langille through 3 and 4, and he's letting them know, hey, I'm ready to go. The laps are winding down. I don't know how much longer I can wait behind you guys, but Mike Alexander might be one of the cleanest drivers that you will ever find on the iRacing circuit. You won't see him just come up and punt somebody, even if it is for a win. So showing tons of patience there. But he has nothing in his rearview mirror. You got Sean Pierce back in 8th, but he's a good 10 or so car lengths behind Mike. So all he has to do is look through his windshield and try to figure out how to get around Josh Langille without just giving him the crown horn. But Travis Roma now in on a island of his own, but the 18 slips up. The 18 slips up and lets the 75 go. That might have been kind of a gentleman's thing, saying, hey, you come on by, man. You're a lot faster than me. You know, instead of making 8 tires faster than 4, I'm just going to let you go.
13 laps to go, and between Ricky Arbo and Corey Hall, there's about a gap now. So Ricky Arbo from 2nd place. If Corey Hall has anything left, using it now as we're coming close to 10 at Langley Speedway. In fact, Brad Eddy is pretty far behind the 08 as well. Cars are starting to distance themselves as we're towards the end here after a change of the lead twice on 1 lap.
It was basically twice in 1 corner almost there. You know, we had We had the 08 of Corey Hall take the lead and slap the wall, and that opened up the door for Ricky Arbo. So, and this is what Ricky needed. Ricky's turning some really fast laps. Even though he was a little bit slower that lap trying to get around the Andrew McBurney machine there that is down a lap and all mangled. That Miller High Life is a crunch beer can. But doing everything he can to keep that car back up front. But we're coming down to 10 to go this time by, and he is in the catbird seat.
Sitting in the catbird seat, but look at all the cars in front of your leader, Ricky Arbo. If I'm hoping those lap operate with the leader and they block for all they can so he can try on the leader, the 22 Arbo. There's the 141 of Richard Drake at the middle of the track.
Oh, 13 gets one! 13 spinning in front of the leader. The leader almost spins and he saves it. Oh, man.
Oh, brother. This is going to set up towards the end. He spins out in front of your Arbo. Man, oh man, we got to see a replay of what brought that caution out. We know who did it, but what happened?
The 55 got taken out as well, Paul, as the 13 was getting back up to speed.
Well, we'll watch the whole thing here. You can see, oh, man, we're going to back that up a couple more seconds because that's right where it started. You see, heading down into the corner, the 13's down towards the apron, 66 Wonder Bread machine. It slam. It's like the last piece of bread. You just kind of slam on the ground because nobody likes a heel. But, yeah, you can see he gets spun around, doesn't hit anything yet, but we're going to play it all the way through here. And, oh, man, as the 13 comes down, he just slams, gets T-boned by the 55. So it's a tough break. 55 going a little bit quick right there, I would say, for caution. But I don't know about the 13 spinning around like that in the racing groove. So that's a tough way to call it. But man, you can see that 13 car is destroyed.
Man, Dylan, I was thinking to myself there, Dylan. You know, it was like a lap before, and I feel like we all do this, but we don't want to admit it. Man, it'd be pretty cool if we saw a caution, or what if a caution came out? You think it to yourself, but you don't want to say it out loud because you don't want to be that jinx. But man, oh man, that was... Whew, if I am the driver, if I'm Ricky Arbo, I'm having to check my pants because that was a close one.
I was just going to say there, Wes, it would not be a TCM event or a Vidane TV event without a caution towards the end to make things all scrambled up towards... This is a game changer, race fans watching tonight on Vidane TV. And Tim, we've got Ricky Arbo in the 22, the leader, after he gained it from the one of Craig McDonald and then the 08 of Corey Hall as well. Brad Eddy sitting in fourth, so watch out. Brad Eddy is going to be coming through hellfire on that restart, I'm sure, and push the 08 if it is a single file restart towards the front. And maybe use a little bit of the chrome horn towards the...
Dylan. Got a question for you, Dylan.
Yes, sir.
Where does Mike Alexander finish?
Depends on if we have a green-white checkered, I think. It depends on so many things. And we are double... So there is Ricky Arbo on the side. I'm telling you, if I'm Brad Eddy, I'm going to be sending it into turn number one here to try and...
Chrome horn the whole way.
Chrome horn, trying to move him out of the way. 5 laps to go in the Speedway 660 National, 125 at the very small Langley Speedway. This is setting things up with the pace car about to pull in west. 6 is sitting in third. We've got the 22 in first. Oh, and he spins the tires a bit. Green flag is out. Corey Hall on the outside. Can he make it work?
That outside hasn't worked all night, and it doesn't look like it's going to work now as the 08 loses a lot of momentum on the outside, allowing Ricky Arbo to break out with that lead here. Coming to lap 23, the 08 of Corey Hall still stuck on the outside. Side by side now is Alexander. Alexander, and all the 38 gets spun by the 1. Can he save it? They're inside each other. Oh, and there goes the 90 goes around, the 24, the 97, the 21. This is Wreckfest, ladies and gentlemen. My Lord, turn 2's Calamity Corner. You know what this means. Green, white, checkered, Dylan. And look who has risen to the top. The cream of the crop, Mike Magic Man Alexander.
Oh, yeah, brother. The cream always rises to the top. And Macho Man Mike Stevens there, brother, sitting in third. Unbelievable.
Freak out.
I am freaking out, brother. Unbelievable. Paul, what the heck happened there to bring out the caution?
Well, let me tell you something, brothers. The superpowers kind of combined in the number 56 car. I'm not even sure. We're just throwing a random replay in there. 56 was definitely involved in that replay, or in that wreck. You see the 093 just kind of gets in the back of him. I don't believe that's why we're under caution, though. I was a little bit too entertained by the booth, and I wasn't really paying attention.
No, it was there was a lot of junk in the back there, unfortunately, man.
Looks
we
like
saw the one
Yeah, we'll
involved.
take a look. Wow, all the way up there with the old 38. Let's see.
And Craig McDonald's in the pits, by the way. That's it for Craig. From leading half this race down on ending in pit road.
All right, so here we go. The Coca-Cola machine. You might very well see why, because you can see he dives all the way down to that yellow line, sends the 38 around. 21 gets in the back bumper of the 1. The 1 and the 38 are inside each other, knocks out the 97, the 24, the 90, and see the 21 there involved, and the 1's actually stuck to the 38. So that's kind of sketchy. But man, sets up a green-white checkered, and what are we calling him now? Iron Man, Magic Iron Man, Mike Alexander up towards the front, raced his way in from the very last qualifying position in the Consi, made it to the feature event. Now he's running third.
Man, this has been crazy. You know, most of this race was kind of mild. These guys just got into a rhythm, which is what you want to do. You want to get into that rhythm and just log laps. If the positions come to you, they come to you. You run the fastest laps you can, and you do your best, and you log laps. You're kind of conservative. That first half, 3/4 of the race, depending what position you're in. And then this last quarter is when you put that hammer down. And we saw it there. We thought we were going to see Brad Eddy be the one to put the hammer down on the 22, but he ran that really clean. We saw the 08 of Corey Hall get the short end of the stick, got stuck on the outside running second. Well, that same thing happened to Brad Eddy here. This is what I'm going to do. If I'm Brad Eddy, if I'm in that driver's seat here, Dylan,
I'm back, brother. Sorry about my internet. I'm back, though. We're back.
No, you're fine. You're fine, man. If I'm Brad Eddy here, I am letting Ricky Arbo get this jump, and I'm shooting to the inside to take off the nose of Mike Alexander, because we've seen it time and time again. This outside will not prevail without just dooring somebody. So if I'm Brad Eddy, I'm letting that Ricky Arbo, number 22, out there so I can get underneath. But let's see what happens if the green flag flies. And does he do? He does that. He does that absolute move, does Brad Eddy. He does a great move at getting to the bottom. He didn't want to be stuck on the outside, as this is a green-white checkered. The battle is for second, but isn't anymore. Here's the 75 of Mike Alexander. Almost gives up over to the 08. White flag is out here at Langley Speedway.
One more time around. Can Ricky Arbo hang on? Will Brad Eddy send it into turn number to see here? Can the 22 hang on? Now in turn 3 and 4, no competition. Ricky Arbo will win.
Oh, 18 gets spun! Does 18 get spun off the corner underneath Mike Alexander? Was not Mike doing the spinning, but the 18 gets spun, battling for fourth. Man, oh man, Mike Alexander bringing home fourth place, but Arbo, the strong runner here tonight, winning Tim's Corner Motorsports at Langley Speedway.
Unbelievable. Another checkers and wreckers situation. Josh Langille tagged at the back there. Slammed into, cars flipping over the front stretch. What else do you want?
In the words of Vince McMahon, are you not entertained? Like, this is what you look for when you watch a short track race. You got the best of the best here. You saw battles for the lead. You got battles throughout the pack. We got drivers intentionally wrecking each other. We got drivers hot underneath the collar right now. Welcome to TCM. And right now, sounds like they will be reviewing that last incident where the 18 got wrecked of Josh Langille. He got wrecked coming off the corner. And it's funny, when I saw him get wrecked, the admins right away muted his chat, which was great to see. But they are reviewing that. Possibly that could have been prevented, but the 18 got absolutely just 4th and 10 punted there by John Baran in the 57. But at the end of the day, Mr. Arbo is your winner. Hell of a job by these guys. And man, this was fun to call.
This was, and Brad Eddy finishing second. Corey Hall finishing third. I mean, you can't get any better than that there. Mike Alexander finishing in fourth. And I think I need to catch my breath after that one. I was curious if Brad was able to get on the inside and really dive in on Ricky Arbo. Some clean racing. The 22/00 getting the big
And he's gone.
I was gonna say he was about to ask Brad Eddy about that. Wes, we got our second place finisher in the booth, Brad Eddy.
Hey, Brad. Okay, so action-packed race here for you tonight. You worked your way through mid-pack up front. You got to see a heck of a battle there happen in front of you with Ricky Arbo, Corey Hall, and the what was on his door, the one machine there of Craig McDonald. Walk us through your battle and how you were able to bring home the second-place finish.
Just trying to save as much as I could, and I got lucky a couple of times and got under some guys, but turns out I used up a lot more than I thought, and Ricky had us all beat tonight for sure.
Explain to us how you battle up from mid-pack where you started and still be able to make up positions, but at the same time, you're able to save your tires. How does a driver do that? Because most of the time as a driver, you would think, all right, I got to push it if I want to make these passes. But how were you able to make that happen?
I just try to keep, low speed in the corner. I was hooking the apron a lot and, really trying to go easy on the right front. And then, when I saw an opportunity to put pressure on the guy in front of me, I would. And lucky for me, they made some mistakes. So I had some easy passes tonight, and, the cautions worked in my favor. So.
Tell the viewers a little about you, Brad. We saw a pretty cool Valvoline paint scheme on your car. You guys do a great job with these throwback schemes. Tell the viewers a little bit about Brad Eddy, what real-life experience you may have, virtual experience, and where are you from?
Sure. So I grew up racing go-karts, bandoleros, legend cars, won a lot of championships in those series, and then I moved on to late model stock in the southern U.S., and then I ran some super late model stuff up in the Maritime provinces here, and I'm currently running a sportsman car for Geary Hayes out of Cape Breton. So Jerry was kind enough to give me a call, and a funny story is I actually got the ride through iRacing. One of the friends I made on iRacing gave Jerry a call. That's how I was actually to secure the seat moving forward. So we're going to be racing the Sportsman Series in the Maritimes here, and as well as the Pro Stock or the Super Series moving forward with the Geary Hayes team.
That's a great story, because when I was growing up, my parents preached to me that these video games would never get me anywhere. And hearing that you scored a ride up there with Jerry, that is awesome to hear. Who would you like to thank while we got you in the booth or say hi to that may be viewing?
For sure. I'd just like to thank everybody involved. It was a really great race tonight. A lot of guys kept her clean, and Tim did a lot of work taking feedback from us. And Tim, if you're listening, sorry for getting a little heated in the past, but just really thankful that these are here, and really thankful I got my family watching and my girlfriend. So hopefully they left before me.
And just one last question: do you prefer these open setups or do you prefer fixed?
I prefer the open. I think it allows you to fine tune it for your needs a little bit, and but I can see the appeal of fixed too, right? It gives a more even playing field. So I'm really into having both options if we could. If not, whatever's decided.
Well, you definitely put it on a show tonight. You were able to fine tune that car exactly the way you needed it to bring home that second place finish. Congratulations on the runner up, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Congrats to Ricky. Good job on the broadcast, guys.
Thank you, man.
We definitely appreciate that. And I believe Dylan is back with us, and he's ran his way from the booth. He jumped a fence. He waved to a fan. He signed an autograph. He ate another piece of pizza. He had to readjust his belt after that, and now he's in victory lane with Ricky Arbo.
I ran a mile a minute here to speak with Ricky Arbo. Ricky, do you copy there, buddy?
Yep, I'm here, guys. How's it going?
Good, man. That was a freaking exciting race to watch. You were very consistent, saying in third the entire time. Can you take us through what happened for you to land in P1?
Well, tonight it took a team effort. I had a spotter come in, Roger Downman. He did an amazing job. Myself and three of my other buddies that were a couple of them attempted to get in, a couple didn't make it, but a couple were in the show. We worked hard all week. I built a conservative car. I knew it had I knew it had speed. I didn't think it had this much speed, but I knew it had speed. I was super comfy. I even ran a totally different gear for qualifying. Again, I can't thank Roger enough, man. Tonight, getting me through that. There's a couple wrecks. Dude, I puckered my butt up a couple times, man. That one wreck, I drove right to the inside wall. I was honestly waiting for the bang. But we got through it. We kept getting the green, white checkers, man. There was one time I even spoke down on myself. I said, Roger, this is where we're going to lose it, man. These green, white checkers. And He's a positive dude, man. He said, "No, man, this is yours. Go get it." And I had that stable car. I loved it. I was still flat-footing it on the last lap. Like, I had such a good car. I was still flat-footing it at points, man. It was so much fun. Like, unbelievable. I needed this. I've been out of sim racing a long time, and to put my best friend's paint scheme on and go out and win a race with it, man, especially after what he did for me this summer down in Geary, gave me a car to run, dude. It's awesome. I'm almost emotional. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is huge for me. I know it's only online, but this is huge for me, man. I'm pretty stoked.
Absolutely, dude. And can you let the fans know who Kyle McKinnon is if they don't know?
Kyle McKinnon is the son of Marshall Goodwin. A lot of people from around here know the Goodwin family. Great family, man. They've done so much for me, man. For me, my entire life, and so many people, man. They're amazing people, every one of them, man. I can't name them all off, but like Barb, Marshall, Kyle, just like the Maid family, everybody. Aaron, Bobby, just there's so many of them, man. I can't thank them all. But just, this is going to mean a lot to them, too, to have this car on here. Kyle last year, unfortunately, had his season cut short. He's just, like, again, I didn't say who he was with the racing. Kyle is a street stock driver for Speedway 660. I'm part of his crew. Good buddies of his, man. We're real, like, I feel we're real close guys. Anyways, long story short, man, he got cut short in the street stock season this year with an appendix explosion. It was actually a pretty dangerous situation, man. He pulled through it like a champ, man. He's a tough man, but we battled with a setup all year on his car. He finally figured it out. Group effort. A lot to his girlfriend at the time, himself, his father, everybody who pitched in on the car. They went out in the Ricky Bobby 150 race there. Went out, man, and put on a phenomenal show with that car, man. Had a great run. We built a jig this winter, put that car on, man. That car was so bent, wasn't even funny, man. So we pat ourselves on the back to make that old piece of shit go as fast as it did. And we're coming out with something bigger and better this year. So hopefully we get the racing underway and we can bring this weapon out to play down the Geary Speedway.
So what are the plans for your team if we get back racing sooner than later?
We're going to be there, and I feel like Kyle's going to come out swinging this year. We got a good car. We're a little short on team, but what we got, man, is amazing dudes. Tyler, Matt, Aaron, myself. It's a good group of guys. We all grew up together. We all live within, minutes of each other. It's like that's why it means a lot for this, man, because I know a lot of people are watching right now that are part of this. I mean, I got this young girl. Melanie, her daughter. I got her name on the car, man. I got to show her that, dude. I just went to Victory Lane with her, so I hope they're watching. I have another Sam, her daughter's watching. I got family watching. I got friends, like so many people. So this is huge, man. This means so much to me. It's not even funny.
So how excited are you for ready racing?
I'm ready. Like I'm 100%. Like, the next race is coming up in all divisions, super late model. Anything else we're bringing, I'm ready to go now, man. I got my edge back. This really lit the spark for me again, and my plan from here is to come back with a vengeance. I haven't had very good runs, as you guys could see. I always got a good car. The last few events I've been getting tagged or caught up in other stuff and just couldn't catch a break. It's finally nice to come out tonight with an open setup, something I built, and to come out and put on a show like this and drive through one big wreck and then pass two guys as clean as you could ever do it and survive green, white checkers and drive away flat-footing it. Dude, I couldn't have had a better night. I'm going to go have a few drinks, I'll tell you. I got some Captain Morgan beside me and some Fireball. I'm having a couple drinks, I'll tell you that.
Hey, I got a quick question for him here, Dylan, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When you watch them off of turn 4, come off the corner, you see Corey Hall take that lead, and then Corey Hall smack the wall and that door open. Walk us through the emotions of that, what you were feeling when that happened.
Honestly, guys, I stayed calm. It's surprising anybody that acts like that knows me. I have ADHD. I'm a very hyper dude. I mean, I'm in my 30s, so obviously I can control it, but I find in a race car, man, I'm in a totally different world. Like, I'm so relaxed, so calm. I mean, I grip my wheel pretty tight. My arms are pretty tight. I have to tell myself to relax a lot, but I'm actually very calm behind the wheel and relaxed for the most part until people start running into me or shit like that. I always struggle with getting excited when people start pushing me around, but it's just I find myself very calm. So emotionally during that, in my head, I basically said, Ricky, go get him. It's your show now. And then when I had Roger telling me I was pulling away from them, and I don't look in the actual rearview mirror. I don't even take that right out of my car. I look in the driver's mirror when I need to look. I looked a couple times, and I seen second place back there to where I could see him go in my driver's mirror going in a turn. I just said to myself, okay, focus, don't overdrive it. And my setup, man, this thing came in. It was a little bit scary on cold tires. I actually running the same setup as qualifying. I made a couple minor air pressure adjustments for Q just to kind of get the air pressures where I liked them, when they were hot. So this my car actually came on the long run, and once I got into clean air, it really showed that this car was planted, and it was a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. This wasn't easy for me, man. I'm sitting here sweating. I'm gonna have to take a shower. I wear a VR. My head is cooking. So, but that was
Ricky,
a blast.
You've earned your drinks tonight. Congratulations, brother. Big win for race tomorrow.
Hell yeah, guys. Thank you very much. Tim, he can probably hear me again. I got to do the same thing as Dan or Brad Eddy. I got to apologize to Tim once. I got excited there when I got spun out once. I mean, we're just so into it. And I mean, tonight even shows that I'm half-assed emotional right now. It just shows how much I'm into this now. And, to go from driving this to a real modified for a few years, back to sim racing and run my buddy's car last year, and then come back to this and still be able to win. Hell yeah, boys. Thank you, Vidane. You guys are amazing. Thank you, everybody involved. I hope you guys all have a good night.
Ricky, this is Paul Strickland down in the production trailer. You guys got a copy on me?
Hell yeah.
Man, I'm just... Listen, Wes. Ricky, man, I know you just went through. You thanked us. You thanked Tim's Corner Motorsports, Speedway 660 for putting this show on tonight. Man, I just want to go out of my way right now, and for the fans, for myself, for everybody at Vidane TV, Tim's Corner Motorsports, thank you. That whole interview right there showed that this isn't just a game. I mean, yes, it's a game, it's iRacing, but there's people that dedicate time, and especially with this, we had an open setup. Like you said, you built the car you won with tonight. You built that setup from the ground up. And this just shows that there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of people that really give a shit about this sim racing, and it's all we got right now with all the COVID-19 and everything like that. But man, it's awesome to hear that passion and that emotion in your voice. Really, really lit a spark under my ass. I mean, that's awesome. That right there is what the fans need to see. We quit racing probably 20, 30 minutes ago. There's still 60, 70, 80 people watching on Facebook, listening to the passion coming out of this.
Awesome.
So very, very cool. Thank you so much.
I hope Paul doesn't pass gas if there's spark.
One more thing that I can't forget always. I have to thank my girlfriend, Brittany, man. She puts up with me doing this. She supports me 100% in the real car in this and every way around. But yeah, I can't, like I said, I could go on thanking people, but again, I can't keep going, but there is a lot of passion. Thank you. That meant a lot for you to say that to me. Everybody watching, thank you all for watching. That adds excitement for me, knowing there's a ton of you guys out there watching and having a good time. So we'll see you guys next show.
Thank you, Ricky.
We'll see you guys.
Ricky is an interviewer's dream, is he not?
100%, Dylan. That man's got a lot of passion, and it's very cool to hear that. But man, Tim made his way over here to the production trailer. Tim, that was a hell of a show, man. Great racing all night long.
Well, yeah, it was great. I hate to say it because I mentioned to our race officials it's a typical TCM show where we have a bunch of cautions at the start and somehow we go green for a long while. But I know we have Corey Hall up here. I want to give him a couple of moments because I know Ricky had them covered on the long run. Corey had them covered pretty much all week long with his guys. Corey, third place run. I know it's not what you wanted, but congratulations. Walk us through a night at Langley.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. That was... Thanks for putting on the race, and obviously Vidane for broadcasting it. Everyone watching at home, hopefully it gives you guys something to do on a Friday night. And
thank you guys. Thank you for the comments, guys. Thank you very much, man. Hell yeah.
Ricky, are you still on your stream?
Oh, sorry, guys.
Okay. Continue, Corey.
That's awesome. Of course, congratulations to Ricky. I know, obviously, that means a lot to him, and it's good to see. I was rooting for Brad, obviously, because between him, Andrew Lively, Craig, Danny, and myself, it was all the same setup. And I kind of got to have to apologize to them guys because the track just gripped up a lot more than I quite realized. But nonetheless, it's good to get a second and a third for CHR and come along with very minor damage. I got to apologize for Craig for putting myself in the fence in front of him, but all in all, it was a lot of fun.
I know Dylan and Wes, you guys saw a lot more of the race up front than I did. What about this performance by Corey?
I mean, he definitely put on a performance that kept us on the edge of our seat. For one, I want to speak about the patience. All those guys showed up front. The top 3, top 4 ran nose to tail for so long going through that lap traffic. We were talking about it's kind of an unspoken gentleman's agreement. When you're going through lap traffic like that, it's like, all right, guys, let's get through them and then we'll battle. And we saw that quite a few times tonight, and then seeing Corey take the lead and then unfortunately lose it on the same lap. It was, man, it definitely kept us on the edge of our seat. And we understand there's going to be lulls in the race. This is 125 laps. You can't go 100% of the time and expect to be there at the end. So I think Dylan may agree that we were expecting a great show, and that's what we got.
Yeah, exactly. But Corey, can you explain what happened when you got the lead for a moment, then Ricky took it? You made a little contact with the wall?
Yeah, so, we were all kind of running in a row there. Then myself, Craig, and Ricky pulled away from the field a little bit. And, I could tell Ricky was good and Craig was getting tight. And I thought, oh, no, I got to go. And I was able to turn underneath of him, and we had been riding before that, and I just wanted to get clear of him and get gone as quick as I could because I knew obviously Ricky was quick, and that was kind of the first time I attempted to put any type of throttle of it, and got very, very tight.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we had a different camera cut than we came to. You in second, then in first for a moment, then back to second. Did you think you had enough to maybe catch up towards the end? I know you were passed by Brad on the restart there, but did you figure that you'd have enough to maybe get back in front?
Yeah, well, I had hoped that I was going to be able to run him back down, but after that contact with the wall, it got even tighter. And with those things, as soon as you put heat in the right front, you might as well just slow down for 3 laps and try to gather it back up. But just never was really able to do that. And on the restart, I said to Brad, I said, man, you got a lot more car left than I do, so you just go ahead and try and get it. And props to Ricky for, holding him off and doing a great job all race.
So Ricky and Brad both mentioned they certainly prefer these open setups. What about you? And I understand that your whole stable there also had a big giant setup all running the same time.
Yeah, so obviously our Q setup was very, very good. Qualifying into the race, we were all top 4. Then Brad had a little mishap on his first lap, touching the wall, but then we qualified in the top 3, but just missed the long run setup. But it's kind of neat. It's tough, working through the day and then jumping on iRacing along with trying to build your own race car and trying to build a setup and get everyone rolling. It's a lot of dedication. So the fixed setup is definitely nice that way, but the open setup is nice when you like to have a car a little looser.
Anybody you'd like to thank this evening for helping you out, and any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, as always, King Racing, Andrew, Rolly, and Judy, they're a big part of me being able to do a lot of the things as travel and go to racetracks, crew chief, and learn a lot about super late models and all that going forward. And obviously my father for sticking with me all along, and the CHR boys for putting their faith in me, even though I kind of dropped the ball, but it's all good.
Good stuff. Are we going to see you at the Petty race tomorrow, or the race just on Sunday?
Hopefully going to make it out to the Sunday race with the Supers. I haven't even done a practice lap, so I don't know what that's going to be like, but we'll see how qualifying goes tomorrow. And again, thanks to you, Dylan, Paul, and Wes, and Tim for broadcasting it, Tim for putting it on, and really appreciate you getting us racers being competitive. That's what we love to do.
Good stuff, brother. Have a great night.
Thanks, man.
It's Corey Hall finishing 3rd this evening, and some great interviews from our top 3, Wes. Ricky had so much to say there, and again, that just shows the passion we are seeing with iRacing. It's not just a game. This is the real
Yeah, and there's a lot of individuals that may criticize that and think, man, he's getting emotional over a video game. Well, to some that hasn't been racing online for as long as others, they might think this is just a video game. But to some, this is what they have. This is their passion. They might not have the money or the means, or maybe they do race in real life. Or maybe they don't have the money or the means to do so in real life. But this is something that they're passionate about, just like anything. You got your folks that are passionate about sports, whatever it might be. People that are passionate about art, about music. Everybody's passionate about something. Paul's passionate about hot dog eating contests. Everybody has their own passions that they get that they're emotionally invested in, and you can see that the iRacing and sim racing as a whole is one of Ricky Arbo's passions, and that's a good thing. That's a healthy thing. It's healthy to have passions in life because, to be blunt, when you don't have anything that you're passionate about, life is pretty damn boring.
Yeah, well said there, Wes. And it's just great to see how much fun that Ricky's having. And he had a great showing last Saturday at USA International, and maybe he can pull off the double here and get 2 in a row tomorrow, as we're pretty much all done here coming up to another event coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, before Paul slides in here and gets us out of here, I know you, Paul. You're ready to dust it off. You got the duster in hand. You're ready to close it off. Just want to say thank you to Speedway 660, and we've been giving Ricky Arbo some credit. But if it wasn't for a post that Ricky Arbo made this morning, I don't think Brent Dunphy would have saw what we're doing. So I want to thank Brent Dunphy for coming on board and thank Ricky for that. And for those that don't know Kyle McKinnon, Kyle is one of the biggest ambassadors for stock car racing in the province of New Brunswick. So I want to say thank you to them for being on here. And I'm sure Kyle's smiling ear to ear right now. And he's probably got a drink in his hand getting ready to celebrate with Ricky. So congratulations to those guys. We have, I think, 4 drivers that qualify for that TCM clean driver bonus that we talked about or touched on earlier in the evening, so we'll have to see what happens on Sunday for that. But coming up tomorrow, the Petty Raceway Series, I believe there's 52 or 53 registered for that, so we'll roll off some heat races. We'll run a last chance qualifier, and then we'll go into the feature 5 flags, 100 laps tomorrow. Should be a good show. You see all those upcoming events on the screen. Be sure to stick around for Sunday with Vidane. They've got the Hudson Speedway iRacers and the East Coast Winter League. The SK mods are coming back. That's going to be fun. And Paul, I know you're ready to dust it off. It's been an emotional night. You got a hot dog by your side. Let's get out of here so you can finish.
Well, hell, if I knew you guys were going to finish off my job and do all the upcoming events and all that stuff, I'd have taken my hot dog down to the 22 crew and had me a Captain and Coke 20 minutes ago. But fantastic racing here tonight. Thank you so much for Tim's Corner Motorsports, and thanks for Speedway 660 for jumping on as the title sponsorship for tonight. We hope this broadcast made it to you in good health, but hey, if it didn't, we hope you get well real soon. I'm gonna nail that one of these nights, and it's gonna be fantastic. I'm telling you right now. But thank you guys so much for spending your evening here with Vidane TV. We're not done yet. We got a long weekend. We got 3 events this weekend. Like Tim said, Tim's Corner Motorsports Petty Raceway Series tomorrow at 1 p.m. Doubleheader on Sunday, the Hudson Speedway iRacers group at 1 o'clock, and then East Coast Winter League SK Modifies at Stafford Speedway there at 9 o'clock prime time on a Sunday night. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you for watching Vidane TV. We'll see you next time when we pull everything out and we do it live.